live from the turtle lair, I guess. It's nice and green in here tonight. This book, if you are a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I don't care, I don't want to hear any of the whole, you're not a real fan if you didn't watch this, or you didn't read that, or you didn't read that. I don't care. If you're a fan of the Turtles in any way, shape, or form, whether it's the newer cartoons, whether it's the original series, whether it's the old comics, the new comics, or even if they're the weird Michael Bay CG turtle movies, doesn't matter. There's something in here for you. The Last Ronin. It is a book from Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. I'm pretty sure this may be their first collaboration comic book wise since their original split years ago. Oh my God. Introduction by Robert Rodriguez. I'm at a loss for words. It's funny. I feel the times I feel most compelled to do videos like this, to do reaction videos and set everything up. I feel like I'm at a loss for words. I think it's those times when I'm moved emotionally, and I really was with The Last Ronin. So if you didn't know The Last Ronin, the basic story is it's set in a post-apocalyptic future, this sort of dystopia, technocratic dystopia in New York City. I'm not going to give any real spoilers away, but it's ruled by somewhat the Foot Clan. And the last surviving turtle of the clan, the last Ronin being a samurai without a master, a warrior without a master, is back for revenge. And it's weird. It's a mix of Escape from New York, and as soon as I noticed some of the Escape from New York vibes, they mention it in the book in a funny, tongue-in-cheek, fourth wall way. It's part Blade Runner just because of the way the city is set up and the technological post-apocalyptic feel. It is, if I can say that correctly, it's part warrior movie. Does feel in some ways like a Japanese warrior movie because they do go and have a big fight, a big scene, almost in Japan at some point in the book. And it's also, I would say, I got big time Logan vibes from this book. And I know it's weird to say, I was going to say this book is the Logan of graphic novels because Logan was based on other graphic novels. I just mean the way the story plays out and the way it made me feel. I got similar vibes to how I felt when I watched Logan. Now, looking at this book, I'm not going to give anything away. It's a different take on one of the characters, which is sort of in line with the original comic, which, if I remember correctly, all the turtles were very similar in their attitude. They didn't all have their own personalities, which it's brought out in here, but the character that you follow, and I'm not going to spoil who it is, has a bit of has had a change in personality in some way, and it echoes back to a deleted scene from the TMNT movie from 1990, which my brother Steve, I think we're going to do a long form podcast style or sit down discussion about The Last Ronin, and going to try to do some turtle talk a couple times a year. Hey, there you go. There's a new name for a type of video on the channel. But man, they really did a great job with this book. Story-wise, I thought it was a home run. I think it was, I don't want to say derivative because that cheapens the story, but it took some threads from other, like I said, Escape from New York, Blade Runner, a little bit of Logan thrown in there. So there are definitely vibes that you pick up that it's similar. It's even similar in some ways to, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but almost similar in some ways to The Last Jedi, or not the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. You'll get it when you read it, and I'm not trying to scare you off if you didn't like those movies. It's not in an execution way. It's just the type of story. Let's just say it's multi-generational, but it actually is done pretty well. There's a couple of surprises that they throw in there about some of our favorite characters, which they don't get to till toward the end of the book. So you're in for some surprises there. They found a way to add some intrigue to some legacy characters and some new characters by incorporating some of the main threads from the original book and story and origin into this story. So the artwork is amazing. Sometimes it is a little difficult because it jumps between scenes. It'll say now and it's a certain style, and then it'll maybe have a flashback and it'll have a different style. And then sometimes when in the scene someone is telling someone else about something that happened, they do this cool thing in the style of, I believe it's Kevin Eastman. So here, normal, good art, but vibrant comic book art. And then when they flash back, or someone tells a story, I should say, it's this cool black and white, very reminiscent of the original. And they had, like I said, different artists on it. Kevin Eastman came in and did some of the drawings in that style. It's really cool. And if you flip to the back of the book, there's actually alternate covers done by different artists, which it's just a fun collector's piece to have, and I'm glad I've got it. It really connected with me as a story. Turtles, Star Wars, Logan, those stories at their core are all about family. And my family's always been pretty tight. My brother and I, we grew up watching the Turtles. My older brother and I, and my younger brother and I. And my older brother and I pretty much had the original run cartoons when they came out. A lot of stuff I talk about on this channel is movies that have come out before I was even born and I discovered later on VHS. Turtles is one of those things, much like partly the WWF, one of those things that I experienced as a young kid, and I came up during that era. So I remember that first run. I remember how massive it was with the shows and the toys and the video games and the arcade games and the musical tours. I remember we went to MGM Studios when I was like 3 or 4, maybe 4, and they had the Turtles there appearing at MGM, and they're in costume, and it was amazing. I mean, when they say Hulkamania, Turtlemania, they're not joking. It was. I can't even explain it. The closest thing I would say is like the fads, like fidget spinners, maybe when you see it everywhere, or like when Justin Bieber was super popular and everyone knew who he was. It was like that, or like JoJo Siwa, but I can't even quantify it because you didn't have all these different options back then. It was amazing. It was truly amazing. And as a kid who grew up with that, and as a fan, it was nice to read a story that was multi-generational, that it appealed to fans of many different versions of the Turtles. And it was a great story centered on family. It's a perfect, it reminds me of the Greek comedy and tragedy masks. Like there's fun, there's adventure, there's heartbreak and intrigue. It is a very nice mix. And like Logan, when, he's hurting and he's in pain and he's dying and you know that it's not going to be long for him because he's an old man, whether it's today or whether it's 5 years from now. He's not long for this world, and he's just trying to, by the end, do the right thing. You almost take the win as he's dying that he did what he did and he redeemed himself. So even though he's losing his immediate battle with life, he's won the war. Even if you're not the biggest fan of Ninja Turtles, if you understand the backstory and you're a fan of comics, or if you're a fan of the cartoons when you were younger, it's definitely got its depressing moments, but it's definitely a ride worth taking, and I can't vouch for it enough. So I'm bshowbrian. That's enough. Go read The Last Ronin. I'm going to get into it deeper with my brother Steve and do some turtle talk a couple times during the year. That's it. Let me know what you thought in the comments if you've read The Last Ronin, and see you next time.